Welcome to Crushgasm, the podcast dedicated to the highs and lows of crushes. From their first to their worst, we're going to cover them all with a cascade of characters, including our guest today, a wonderful trio with a lot to say, Kevin TheRant, Dre, and Kool Kev, the host of the Opinionated Podcast, and they're here today to talk not only about the show, but also their celebrity crushes, which date all the way back to their teens. Guys, how are you?
Hey, what's up?
Great.
Doing
well. Great.
Great. So we're sort of, like I said, we're going to go in order of when these celebrity crushes kind of came to be in the pop culture realm. With that, we're going to kick off with Kool Kev and his crush from one of the most iconic TV shows of the 90s, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Were you someone that was like dedicated to tuning in every week, or was it just for Ashley Banks?
No, I thoroughly enjoyed Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I mean, I enjoyed everybody in the cast. Me being a child watching that, it was something to look forward to, family time and with my cousins, my grandparents, my parents. We all watched the shows together. And I grew a love back then for Tatyana Ali, Ashley Banks, aka Tatyana Ali. As a child, pretty much, especially when I seen her trying to hook up with Tevin Campbell. I was like, nah, son. You know what I mean? What you doing with my shorty up on here? But then it's hard to compete with Tevin Campbell. So at that time, at any time now. But I definitely tuned in, and she, kind of captured my heart at that time period. So.
And was Tevin Campbell then like an enemy for you? Like, did you hate Powerline from a Goofy movie? Because
Nah, it's funny because I liked Tevin Campbell as an artist, so to see him on the show was pretty cool. I definitely liked Powerline. That was my shit back then. That was my movie, the Goofy movie. I can't lie. So I mean, I didn't
iconic
really have
black film right there.
Yeah, I didn't really have any qualms with him. It was just, they're like, what you doing here? And then I seen he was like, oh, nah, I gotta go. Yeah, you got to go, buddy. You know what I'm saying? You might as well get up out of here.
Touching your lead.
Yeah, don't be doing nothing you don't need to be doing up in here.
And you're the second guest to come through with a love of Tatyana Ali. Why do you think she has been more crushable than Hillary Banks? Like the old.
You know what? I think Karen Parsons was sexy too. She was, especially like when you ever see the movie what the hell is that movie called? Major Pain. There you go. It was like watching her graduate to, to another level. Or at least I thought back then, from TV to movies. And it was like, man, she looked like she don't ever age. But I was younger at the time, so it was just like, I probably wouldn't get no chance with her. I'm too young for her. She probably just brushed me off. But
I was going to ask, do you think that Ashley or Tatyana Ali being closer to your age at the time was the reason you kind of like gravitated towards her?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like the similarities within the age between us, we had a lot of similarities. We had a lot of things in common, as her being a kid and liking certain stuff, and me being the same way, and us rebelling against parents, and seeing her. I mean, we lived two different lifestyles because she was living the rich and slightly famous as a kid on a TV show, and I was living with my grandparents asking for Tang. So
so random.
You know what I mean? But that's the difference, you know what I mean? So I mean, but it's just the childhood between the two, the things, her making me laugh. She was definitely cute and grew up to be a beautiful woman. So it was always like an interesting appeal physically. And I mean, it was just a vibe, I guess.
And you noted that the crush sort of faded as you were entering like adulthood around 18. Was it more because like you found someone else to crush on? Maybe you had a real life girlfriend, or it was like no shade to her. Her career was kind of fading a little bit. She wasn't as in the spotlight.
I mean, she just wasn't. As I grew up, I mean, thinking about celebrity crushes, this started to become more competition. You know what I mean? There's more outlets to seeing different things. There's music videos. There's women artists. There's, back then it was, I'm watching TV and I was young, so it's Nickelodeon, it's ABC, it's TGI Fridays, it's certain shit that you watch and you see these people constantly. So I was always seeing the same people at a certain age, and then as you start growing up, you're seeing more things, and your mind starts to develop for a different taste, not necessarily a better taste, but a different taste in woman or man, depending on who you love or like. You just kind of gravitate to other people, and then not seeing her as much, and then she started doing like soap operas, and it's like, nah. So.
And have any of you checked out Bel Air? The kind of refreshing.
I watched the first episode of it.
I haven't.
I wasn't going to purchase Peacock. I'm just going to.
That's what it is.
I wasn't going to buy it. If it had came on something like Hulu, that is something I already had, or just regular television, I would have tuned in. But I had to actually pay to see that. I was like, I'm not going to.
I'm sorry.
It's not for me.
It just was horrible.
I loved it.
No.
I loved it. It's really fun. The first episode is like they got all the cheesy stuff out of the way. So get past the first episode, because I was like, I don't know about this. It was a little too dramatic, but Marlon Wayans comes and plays Will's dad, and like what should have been an Emmy-nominated performance. So good.
Will you check it out?
Yeah, will any of you buy Peacock if like Will or Tatyana Ali come through, if they're like...
I had Peacock. I had Peacock.
He don't want to watch it.
I don't want to watch it. I'm like, why do they always got to remake our classic TV shows? Like, why doesn't anybody have the balls just to step out and do something new and different and it, like they did, experiment, take the risk. Just why remake something that was already a classic?
People like bringing back the nostalgia of shit.
I can answer that if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the guy who, if you remember, there was like a clip on the internet where they did a dramatic kind of retelling of The Fresh Prince, but it was just a clip. And apparently it got to Will Smith, and he was interested in doing a dramatic retelling of, so that it came about, I want to say organically, because it was like, oh, that would be cool if we did it like that. Mm-hmm. So I guess to them it was fresh. Excuse the pun.
It was different when I watched the first episode, like I said, because it was free. And it was different compared to, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air that we watched in the 90s. So it was, I didn't say that it wasn't interesting and it wasn't good. I just wasn't paying for it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I ain't have to pay for Fresh Prince before, and now I gotta pay for it now. I ain't with
He's
that.
a fresher Prince now. So.
Well, the Uncle Phil and the Aunt Viv are just gorgeous. It's a gorgeous cast too. They really the casting director. But from one iconic show to the next, Dre, who wasn't watching Friends back in the day? But I have to know, were you enjoying it more than Living Single? Because we all know there is certified beef when it comes to which show is essentially the better one.
So with that, when I was young, I was actually watching Living Single more. And around maybe 97, maybe 98, I met someone and they turned me on to Friends. And at first I was like, I'm not watching that. I don't know anything about it. Nobody I know is watch it. And then I started watching it one night. This is before we had DVR or anything like that. And I couldn't stop. Till now, I still watch reruns on HBO Max.
All right, so you bought HBO Max, but not Peacock. Okay, but you have a Dunder Mifflin shirt. What is the message you're sending here?
I keep going back and forth. I have too many streaming platforms now, but if something falls off, I'm definitely going to add Peacock because I got to get The Office back. I love The Office.
I have it on DVD, but the power went out yesterday, but it came back on. The Wi-Fi was iffy, and I was like, I'm still not gonna go get my DVDs. I was stressing about, because we were watching The Office. And I was like, I'm not gonna go walk in the other room and just get them. They're more like display items. So.
That's funny. I left my DVDs in New Jersey, actually.
I know my husband had a bunch and he sold them before he moved cross country, and I'm like, no, I'm like a pack rat. I have old Disney VHSs. I don't have VCR, but
right, exactly. They're collector's items.
Yeah.
Did anyone else watch Living Single versus Friends back in the day?
I
watched Living Single and did not watch Friends.
Friends was like I watched Living Single, and I think when I had moved into my first apartment, I didn't have cable. and I like stumbled across, like I had to watch regular TV, and I just started watching Friends, and from there on I could not stop watching it. Even when I got cable, it was like rewatched it like 3 or 4 times over and over.
I mean, it's a good show. I mean, I think Living Single is a lot better. It came first, but they're all ripoffs of Golden Girls in the end.
There you go.
But all of that aside, I think the one thing that stands out from Friends most in pop culture is your crush Jennifer Aniston's hair. The Rachel, it was a signature look, and she's on record by saying she wasn't a fan of it. Do you think that was Jennifer's best era, though?
For me, it was. But you know what? No, because she aged like a fine wine.
Mm-hmm.
Like even now, like one of my favorite movies, me and my wife's favorite movie to watch is Just Go With It.
That is a good movie.
And she holds up really nicely.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
As opposed to what was her name, Brooklyn Decker. You know, I prefer her over Brooklyn Decker in that particular movie.
And you mentioned The Breakup, a movie where she shows a little bit of skin, which I think, like, for any of our crushes, if we see, like, a little bit of skin of our celebrity crush, it, like, makes us go wild because it's kind of like, ooh, we got a sneak peek. Did that scene pump the crush up to a new level?
100%. 100%. Before you even got there, I imagined it because it almost makes it makes them like you can touch them. Like you can reach out and touch them like, ooh, I saw Jennifer Aniston's butt. That's awesome. Is it not?
It is one of the top tier celebrity backsides we've seen.
Oh yeah, nice and toned. She does Pilates.
Anybody else have any favorite celebrity backsides that they think could battle Jennifer Aniston's?
I crush, but we're gonna get to it later.
I'm about to say who. I thought I was about to know who you was going to say.
Rames.
I was gonna say Ving Rames.
Yep.
Yeah, because in the baby boy scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about you.
No, he's talking about himself. He love how Ving Rames was cooking them eggs.
I thought you was gonna say Lisa Ray at first.
No, I was gonna say not Lisa Ray, but I was gonna say
Famous
my
backside.
Jessica Alba and Good Luck Chuck.
Oh, cool.
You'll get there.
We're gonna get there, but I'm just, jeez, Lord.
We'll get there in
Yeah,
just
we're
a
having a
second.
conniption.
Because looking back at Rachel Green then, she was like a stylist. She worked in fashion. Do you think she would have been, if they made Friends today, if it had never existed, they were not doing a reboot, it's fresh today, do you think she would have been like cast as like an influencer?
Yes. But you know what I think, in all honesty, to kind of continue where you were going with that, I would like it if they did Friends today, if it never existed, as a mockumentary, like The Office.
Okay.
I think it would have been a lot more interesting. And yeah, I think they would have used an influencer, but they could have gotten away with using a more grounded, I don't know the right words to say, but like a more toned down, like just natural beauty looking woman. If they did, like Pam.
I was like from
like
Martin. Okay.
Oh, no.
You're talking about from The Office.
From The Office.
From
Pam
The
Beasley.
Office. I did like Pam.
So yeah, they could have gotten away with doing that as well if they did like mockumentary style. So that was like a long answer to that question.
Which influencers and natural? Now we're on to Kevin TheRant's crush, because she's sort of an influencer of her own. She's this mogul level though with her Honest Company. I was surprised you said it was like Fantastic Four where you fell in love with her, because I remember her from Dark Angel. Am I just like an old person compared to you?
Like Dark Angel, I didn't necessarily watch that show. So when I like first got introduced to it was Fantastic Four, and I'm like, yo, who is this? Like, who is this? Like, when I seen her face, I couldn't tell what she was. I know she came on the screen looking like a white girl, but it looked like she had a little bit of Spanish in her. I'm like, and her lips, oh my gosh. Her lips is the most sexiest things I've ever seen on this planet. Just her face.
Tone it down there, cowboy.
I'm just saying, the reason I have a crush on her so bad is not because of her body, but her face. She's like one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen on the planet, dude.
Did you go back and like kind of watch her previous movies and roles? Because I think wasn't she had Never Been Kissed as well?
She was in that. She was in Honey.
Shout out to Honey.
Seen her in Honey. What else did I see her in? It was that, and it was that movie for me, Fantastic Four, and it was Good Luck Chuck.
First time I seen her was in Idle Hands with Seth
okay.
Green and
Evan
that was her.
Sawa.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, but when she got her woman, like I seen her earlier when her woman, she was cute back then, but then her face, and then she started getting her woman body, like in Good Luck Chuck. The scene when she was in the bedroom and she started stripping down for him to come in the bedroom with her, and she took them pants off, and when I seen her get in the bed, like she was like naked, like you wouldn't see nothing, but you could see her like halfway naked underneath the covers. I wanted to jump in that TV. Like, if you're not gonna get in the bed with her, I will. Like that was like, I don't know how you resist something like that. I don't think I could have seen something like that. I don't care. I understand the premise of the movie of him dating these women and they wind up getting married. I do not care. Just risk it.
And you're like the only one today who's like celebrity crush has superhero roots, which now it's like everybody's played a superhero, but back then it was pretty rare. Do you think that like Captain Marvel and Wanda owe a lot to Jessica Alba's Fantastic Four character for kind of, opening a door a bit for the women in the hero films?
Yeah, it does, because at that time, Marvel was like at that point damn near going under. Like these the Fantastic Four movie and X-Men also was trying to somewhat save Marvel for going under. So yeah, the women
they're Fox properties.
They're Fox properties now, but he had to sell it off. But they do owe a lot to her, because like that level of beauty, mostly you see superhero women. It ain't like, the first, you ever see the first Wonder Woman, like from the 70s? It was like, she's all right. It was like, it was like,
not too bad.
It wasn't too bad, but it was like, I could think a lot better than that right there. But, but yeah.
What about Catwoman?
No.
You don't think she...
Oh, Michelle.
And start opening doors from that point?
She was more crazy in that movie. It was like Jessica Alba, like the
great performance though.
Yeah, I love Catwoman.
It was great performance, but that body. Did you see the suit that she had on in Fantastic Four? It just like a glove. Like you seen everything.
Like a glove.
I know I sound perverted here, but you said crush. I didn't say I had to keep it clean, but it was just that led to like the Scarlett Johansson becoming
Black
Widow.
Think about that.
Yeah,
think
Scarlett
about
Johansson got
yeah,
that thing be thanging in that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where they got it from. They was like, you know what? Like, even though Catwoman in the original Batman movie, her suit was tight too.
Her suit was
tight too, but it was nothing compared to Jessica Alba's suit. It was like night and day. It was like, oh my gosh, like. It's just, she just has like petite. I know, Dre, your face is peeked out right now because I can see
it's funny though.
Bro, I just like, for real, I would drink Jessica Alba's bathwater.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
I mean, we don't have to go that far, but if Jessica Alba was to return to the DC or Marvel universe, what kind of, for all of you, what would you want your celebrity crush, or what character would you want them to play?
I can see her. I could see her coming back as Mrs. Fantastic, but if they was gonna recast her, I would like to see her. I would like to see her in the X-Men. Who?
Yeah.
I know they've been saying what's the name
curious.
for Rogue, but I can see her as a sexy Rogue. They would beef her up. They would probably have to beef her up a little bit. Put a little bit of muscle on her. Either that, or if they bring her back in X-Men, what was the Emma Frost? Now she can come.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
Emma Frost. She can come back as Emma Frost. Now Emma Frost had one of the most. Oh my gosh, she had a nice outfit in the comic books. If they could put that comic book outfit on her in the Marvel Cinematic,
I think she would be good with Jean Grey.
Because
Jean Grey got the suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cyclops was my favorite character, so I'll be happy for Cyclops. And really, Wolverine would have something to be salty over. He sees Cyclops grabbed up on that right there, on that Jean Grey. Oh yeah, I'll be mad too, like Wolverine. Me and both be beefing with Cyclops.
What about Tatyana Ali and Jennifer Aniston? What if we can get them in a superhero film? Who would you want them to play?
Aunt May for Jennifer Aniston. That's kind of all we got there. She's a little bit. She's on the older side. Now she's still beautiful, and she definitely still keeps her body right. But I would say,
Spider-Man,
just like they did with Marissa Tomei,
I'm about to say
girl fine ass Aunt
love
May.
Marissa Tomei.
Yeah,
Ever since my
she fine
cousin
as hell
Benny,
too.
boy,
She fine as a mug.
she finer than a motherfucker.
I didn't realize she was in a different world too. I had to go back and
Yeah.
see that.
You
yeah.
are sleeping, my friend.
Yeah,
I know.
you stuck.
Yeah.
I can see Tatyana Ali as Storm. You know what I'm saying?
Older Storm.
Yeah, well, I mean, Tatyana ain't young no more.
She's still fine though.
She is still fine.
Yeah.
But I could see, I mean, if they were doing an X-Men and it would be now, I don't think they would make an old Storm. You know what I mean? I think they would revamp it. And she could possibly be like, all right, if they're back at the, if they're at, what's it called? The Academy.
Wakanda. Oh.
You said Wakanda. No, she started off in Wakanda.
Are y'all not familiar with Storm?
Yeah, she started off
we
in
talk
Africa.
about X-Men. When I'm talking about
okay.
X-Men, you go into Wakanda. That's funny.
But that's
as
where
hell.
Storm started from, though.
Are you familiar with Storm?
Okay, I wasn't
Yeah.
talking about. I'm
She
talking
was-
about if they were in the academy and she was teaching the kids. You know what I mean? She would be that type of Storm. You know what I mean? Running down to school and shit like that. Shit go down. Next thing you know, she just flying in the air, causing storms and shit, making everything all wet.
Drake like that. Waiting for his thing.
Listen, I'm mad because both of y'all's answers was way better than mine. Storm, like that would be perfect.
Yeah.
That'd be perfect.
Do you think that Halle Berry is going to come back as Storm in Deadpool 3 since we have Hugh Jackman coming back and they're saying he's going to be in the classic blue and yellow suit? So,
I've watched the trailers of him and Ryan Reynolds talking about it, going back and forth, making parodies towards the movie that's coming out. And then I definitely checked it on IMDb, and he's definitely in the movie. So I don't think so though. I mean, I watched Moonfall with Halle Berry in it not too long ago, and that movie was okay, but I don't know, man. I don't think Halle Berry got it to be in Deadpool. I think you got to have another lane of action and intensity to be in Deadpool. You know what I mean? Anytime I've watched Halle Berry in a Marvel movie, Storm just lacked that luster. It wasn't like the Storm that I was
you're right.
used to. You know what I mean? I'm used to Storm, going ham on shit. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's going down, even though she always had. But yeah, and then they gave Halle them whack lines, man.
Well, Storm had whack lines in the cartoon.
Yeah, but Storm was from Wakanda, so
her character was definitely had more depth than what they gave her in Fox. And that was what Fox was guilty of anyway, was like robbing characters of their actual character.
But that's why I said if they could. That's why I would say they would put Emma Frost, because Emma Frost was a part of the Brood, like bringing her back in that X-Men lane right there, Jessica Alba. Because you got to think, what's his name? He was the Human Torch, and he wound up becoming Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
So they really went away from
America's ass.
Yeah. How he beefed up that role, but I can see them doing something like that if they can do the X-Men that way, because you can either have it going against Magneto's crew or like I said, the Brood, which was led by Emma Frost. Emma Frost had mind control powers that damn near rivaled she can damn near rival Professor X. At one point in time, she can control what's the thing where you get to see all the mutants.
Cerebro?
Yeah, she can mess with Cerebro. So
I think if they were going to bring a Storm back for that, in my eyes, a good person would be like Zoe Saldana. She would. I think she would be a good new Storm.
She's
already.
Who is she? Or what are we talking about? In whatchamacallit?
She's Guardian.
She's
Guardian. Yeah. They're supposed to be interacting in two now. Not those two movies, but I think X-Men or something like that is supposed to be interacting with them, or one of the Marvel movies.
She's always crying for some reason. I don't like
what?
She's
always
crying.
She's always crying. She's always
remember Colombiana?
Zoe.
I know. I said, remember, you ever
she's
see Colombiana? Go watch it.
I seen Colombiana. That was a good movie, but she was crying in there too. Like, she got like a nasty mouth when she cries.
She's just an emotional
She has a
person.
nasty mouth when she cries.
Kev be looking for the pretty criers.
Yo, for real.
Yeah,
They don't exist.
Like my crush Jessica Alba, she cried.
Yo,
I'll tell you one thing. I watched Jessica Alba was in The Veil, and she annoyed the hell out of me.
Ooh.
In the Veil. You seen The Veil?
I seen The Veil and I seen The Eye when she was blind.
With Thomas Jane.
I don't know that. I don't know any of those.
With Thomas Jane.
I seen The Veil. I seen The Veil.
She was just annoying.
But The Eye when she was blind, I think she was getting controlled by. I forgot how the movie went, but in that movie, like she like cried in that movie. She's just fine all the way around. She's fine, dog. Have you seen her now? Even recently,
I would agree. She's fine as hell.
Fine.
Definitely fine as hell.
Like,
I drink your tears, girl.
Your bathwater, tears. What liquid won't you drink?
Whatever she's offering up.
But I was gonna ask, like, Kool Kev, your crush, it kind of pitter-pattered, but the other two, your crushes are still going. What's made Jennifer Aniston and Jessica Alba stay atop the crush list all these years? You didn't turn your back on them like Kool Kev did, Tatyana.
Sometimes you just gotta let them go.
You know what it is that everything I watch her in, like even the and I'm blanking on the name of the movie, but Adam Sandler did another one with her, the detective one. The Netflix movie. And she's just all class, man. Like even when she marries these guys and they wind up breaking up, I blame the guy. Like, to me, she's just all class. Like, she's beautiful and all class. So I can't, like, she don't do nothing to make me say she's corny or that, I ain't messing with her, she did this and that. Nah, she's all class in my book. Never heard a bad story about her.
Jessica Alba, just like, she still has the same face that she did in her younger years. And it's just like, I'm 38. We only, me and her about like 2 years apart, 2 or 3 years. No, I'm 39. She's 41. So yeah, 2 years apart. So it was just like, you get to see your crush still, still beautiful,
Crushing.
still, has that shape, that body. It hasn't gone anywhere. And you can see yourself, even if she turned like 60, you will still see like, she's still fine as hell. No plastic surgery, none of that's necessary. Like, you can just age out naturally. Like, you see some of these women get their face all pulled back, their lips all injected. Like, she already had that. Like,
I feel like you doing shots.
No, I'm saying she had
shots.
She had sex like who has some bad lips? Angelina Jolie. Her lips is terrible.
Jesus.
Her lips back then were fine. They didn't
age.
They didn't age well. Her lips, Jessica Alba had them full lips back then, and she still has them now. Most women today are trying to get that injection to get that look. She doesn't need a BBL.
Sounds like a battle.
Perfect. You know what I mean? It's just like,
yeah, I know, right? I would like to add something though with mine. I think that if Jennifer Aniston didn't, like, if the character of Rachel Karen Green did not have that connection with me, I probably wouldn't feel the same today. Like, she probably wouldn't be my crush if that character didn't have such an impact when it did.
I feel that because I like, my big thing with Sean Hunter from Boy Meets World. It's like, I only like Ryder Strong because he was Sean Hunter.
That's
like,
right.
if he ever did that role, I'd be like, who is this guy? But there are 3 of you, which means there's a perfect amount to play my favorite game here, Fuck, Marry, Kill. So we're going to use your 3 crushes, and you guys can go one at a time. I kind of know who you're gonna, but I would love to know the kill of each of them. So go ahead, one at a time.
This is hard. I'll let y'all go.
Yeah, I'm not going first.
I'll go first then.
Obviously.
Of course. Fuck them all, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Oh man, now you said fuck. So
you fuck them all, then you kill them all.
Go ahead and kill Jennifer Aniston. I know where you're going with it. You're going to kill her.
I am.
Yeah, I might, yeah. But you'd be surprised who I'm going to marry, though. I'll probably marry Tatyana.
I think I would, but go ahead.
I would marry her. But I just want to fuck the shit out of Jessica Alba. If I could have that for about just 1 week, but
Jesus Christ,
just fucking, it'd be her. Yes, excellent. I would fuck the shit out of her. I would love them. I would marry Tatyana just because she seems like we can have a good life. But I would fuck the shit out of Jessica Alba. Like, I just want to. After a while, you start making love to your wife, and it just gets boring. I don't want to never get bored with her. And then I would kill off Rachel.
Damn.
Ross is going to be pissed.
See, I was thrown off about how I went about it. So
who's next?
I guess I'll go next. I'd probably marry Jessica Alba. I'd fuck Tatyana and I'd kill Jennifer Aniston.
Wow,
Yeah.
she's dead in every scenario.
Yeah, I mean, she's just not my. I mean, it's not that she's bad, but she's just not for me.
She don't hold a cup of water to the other two.
She's not for me, so she got to go. Sorry, Dre.
I think personally, and this is, I think too hard about these types of things, but honestly, I would probably marry Tatyana Ali just because I think we might have more in common. I'm gonna be honest with you. The family reunions will not be weird. I would fuck Jennifer Aniston and I would kill Jessica Alba because I gotta have Rachel in my life. Some type of
I got to have it.
And Jessica Alba she's a beautiful woman, like for real. Like there's no, but I don't have that particular connection to her. So it's like, whatever, you can die.
Oh shit!
Damn, Drake. Just kill my crush.
Y'all both killed mine, so whatever. But that's my answer.
Well, we're going to cap off this portion of our chat imagining what our lives would be like with each of your crushes, which you kind of just all had sex with and then didn't even bother to marry, so it's going to be a little awkward. Kool Kev, though, let's start off with you.
Imagining life with her?
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't just, bang her and then go marry somebody else.
Honestly, man, I don't know. I'm a hard person to deal with sometimes. I'm sure she would get on my nerves, and I probably get on her nerves. We definitely would have things in common. I feel like, man, she's into hardcore rap for some odd reason. I could just see her listening to Jeezy or Pooh Shiesty in the car while we on our way somewhere, which is kind of a turn on to me. So, we definitely keep interest in each other. I imagine her home cooked meals got to be bomb as shit. So she definitely gonna keep me fed. Hopefully our goals would be dual oriented. So I think we would be good. But then again, like I said, I'm a hard person to deal with. So who the fuck knows? She might be like, man, get the hell out of here, bro. So, but I mean, it'd probably be cool. Probably be straight. Maybe we last for a little.
Loving husband.
I'd be a loving husband. I mean, listen, man, if I had Tatyana Ali and we were married, there ain't nowhere I'm going. I'm gonna be honest with that. I mean, I'm just
True.
I'm here forever now. You got to kill me. That's how this gonna work. Or I'm gonna kill you. That's how it's going down. You know what I mean?
And Dre, what about you and Jennifer Aniston?
Be the perfect stage husband. Carrying the purse. What else? Ordering the cars to pick us up, to take us to our far off places. I'm waiting in the trailer, going over her sides with her, going over her lines. We have no kids. We're just living a beautiful life.
Are you on her payroll as an assistant then?
She pays me with love.
No, you
Ray,
get
could
the
you
check
imagine
too.
her cooking good meals?
She pays. No, we have cooks for that. What are you talking about? I don't do anything. I'm just there making love.
I'm just there making love. Love and holding the purse and the dog.
Yeah, what do you think I'm going to be in the trailer waiting for?
So you're basically her Stedman.
Or what?
Stedman.
Never heard. Hey, have you ever heard Stedman complaining?
He's living the life.
Yeah, never heard him talk.
Living the
You know
life.
why? Because he's happy.
Because Oprah's got his
very
mouth
happy.
shut.
And I can't wait for me to see Brad in the streets and the other dude from Wanderlust. We got beef.
And Kevin TheRant with the mogul, the billionaire over there, Alba.
Oh man, no kids. We're not having no kids ever.
Just
He runs the
this guy.
honesty
No, I got
company,
kids.
but
I got
This
kids
guy.
now, but if I was with her, we wouldn't have no kids. I'm sorry, because I would
You
be.
have nonstop.
She's a
kids.
billionaire, bro. She's a billionaire. I would want to be on a yacht somewhere with her, laid up, just naked, chilling in the ocean.
She got
In the
kids
middle of
now.
the ocean.
She probably still do that. Leave kids at home with the nanny.
Oh, hey, she can, but me and her be on a yacht. I can see us on it doing the yacht thing, man, chilling in the ocean, just me and her naked, just chilling. flying
Drinking
out
the bodily fluids.
No, everything. Boy, I tell you, it'd be an all-day thing. She would have to have like the Morena or something in there because
I'm about to say you're gonna impregnate her on the first try.
Yes, he would.
He would. I am never gonna pull out. Ever.
She's gonna have kids every year.
Who cares? Why she keep y'all listen? I can see us like dog go from that, hit the yacht, dock up, get on the jet, go hit Italy up, go. It's just all
have a child in each place.
It's all sex, yo. It's all sexy
like
things with her,
Nick
dude.
Cannon, but with one woman.
Yes, that's Kev. His arch.
Oh, don't compare me to Nick Cannon.
Yeah, that's his enemy.
That's good.
Tag him in that.
Tag me like y'all really make it like I have beef with this guy, man. I'm not Nick Cannon, but Jessica Alba, yeah, we be doing on fly stuff, bro. It just to have her on my arms. We be in the gym every day working out because I'm a workout fiend now. Dude, I will make sure that she got that like a all white linen dress, just nothing under it, man. Those panties are nothing. Like you can barely see through that thing, but you know it's mine. When that breeze hit it, you get to see them nipples. You look, yeah, that's me, dog. I'm about to go see this in the room. Yeah. You see that nice breeze, you see them things poking? Yeah, I look at it, dude, like, yeah, go ahead and look.
I wish people could see your co-host's face as you explain this scenario.
Oh man, I'm just thinking, of an apple and a nice like.
Did you say an apple?
I said linen dress, a white linen dress.
I heard what you said with the nipples and all.
Oh
that
my god, bro, just nothing under that joint. I know that there's nothing under there. And I could just smell that thing getting right for me to go take her back.
All right, okay. All right.
I'm sorry. You said this is my fantasy. Why y'all crushing on my fantasy?
Don't crush it
on my fantasy.
On that note, we'll move on. It's time to talk more about what you guys got going on, which is the show. How did you three come together? Were you friends before the show, or were you just looking for podcast buddies?
I've never met these guys.
We
before.
found Dre in an alley.
This is the first time seeing them.
I've seen them.
Dre was a homeless guy, and me and Kev found the alley.
Found him in an alley. He was yelling out, "I'm not gonna rape you." That's the day we found him.
You can't, you have to have backs. You can't tell that story without context.
Okay, but we are all three of us is lifelong friends, and we was always like talking about doing a podcast. Something tragic happened in my life. I lost my baby brother, so I needed to get my mind off of the world. So I'm like, you know what? Let's take this podcasting thing serious. How we are right now, how we did your show, that's how we are. We're loose. We do book guests on our show and everything like that, but we keep the same loose energy. We've been friends this is my cousin right here, Kev.
We've known Joe since we were 9.
Yeah, 9.
I've known Dre since we were like 18, 17.
So that's 20 years. So you got damn near 50 years in combination of friendship right here. So we're like brothers, 3 amigos.
Yeah.
Oh, it was funny. I got that right here, 3 amigos.
Yeah, we talk about everything concerning, men, like, the mental health of men, relationships, and we just kind of really pull the real stories out of our guests that can kind of help other men and women just get along a little bit better in life. So that's kind of what we do.
And you started kind of at the start of 2020, which I know a lot of podcasts were born because of boredom during the pandemic. This one was, of course, but you guys were a little before that. So how was kind of navigating the pandemic and starting a podcast, kind of being ahead of the game?
I feel like we started in 2018 in my apartment with a phone on top of like a basket. And took 4 chairs and we just sat there and talked. And our first guest, close friend of ours, Mar, he was doing some things with clothing, and we talked about, that was the time we talked about
the sex island.
The sex island, correct. From that point to this point and dealing with the pandemic, I think the pandemic kind of helped us because it gave us time to actually do this. You know what I mean? It gave us time to decide, all right, what are we going to do? You know what I mean? Like, we actually had to have a sit down and look each other in the face and, are we going to do this serious, or is this just going to be a hobby? You know what I mean? We had to decide if we were going to take this to another level, or if this is just for fun and, we're not going to start putting our all into it. We're just going to do this as for shits and giggles. And when we got to that point, we felt the path changing. I mean, from things that we purchased for the podcast, how we were trying to reach people, all the way down to topics and us actually divulging into topics and using our personal experience and actually getting deep. And Kev was just talking about this the other day, like more and more recently, every time we do a podcast, there's something that one of us says that neither of us knew, the opposite knew. And it's like, yo, I'm learning something about my lifelong friends just doing the podcast of us just having regular conversations. And we used to talk all the time, you know what I mean? But our lives, even though our lives are intertwined through friendship, we have separate lives. So we're doing a lot of our own shit a lot of the time. This is the most time that we've spent together since our teen to early 20s.
Yeah.
Wow.
Doing this podcast. It built our bond stronger, I feel. Because we talk to each other not necessarily however we want to, but we know how to check each other and not take offense to it. And it's hard to have somebody tell you something about yourself without you feeling some type of way. But when they tell me about myself, I mean, it is what it is, and I can look truth in the face because I know it's coming from a place of love. You know what I mean? So it focused us more and gave us the opportunity to reach out and talk to people, and them actually, they get a chance to now actually hear what we got to say. And I feel like we've grown a lot since then.
Yeah, we have grown a lot. We got a lot of stuff out on the table, man. We did a lot of topics that we really did some deep down soul searching or getting some things off our chest that we probably would never said to anybody but ourselves. Like, you know, like you talking about your situation with your mother, which I known you my whole life. I never known. And Dre recently telling me, you know, that his insecurities and self-confidence issues. To me, talking about dealing with, which has been like a hard subject, dealing with the death of my brother. Like I never had the opportunity to talk to anybody about it other than these guys on the podcast. And it's like, I'm telling all these listeners that I don't know some of my deepest, darkest fears. And it's like, you know, I'm putting my emotions on the table for everybody to see on display. And it's like, it's kind of easy to do when you got this mic in front of your face compared to talking to somebody, you know, because talking to your girlfriend about your problems, like, yo, you feel as though she's not listening. It's like, yo, man, like, why did I even waste my time opening my mouth? But on the podcast, like, I can do it. It's off my chest. I don't think anybody's really listening, even though they are, but I don't feel like anybody's listening. So I got this off my chest. Like, this weight's been lifted. So that's what we do.
Do you feel that it's been sort of therapeutic to start the podcast? Maybe that's not what you intended when you started, but now this is kind of your weekly or monthly therapy session with each other.
Yeah. I feel as though that, because it's the only place I say, I know it's sad to say, but I can be myself. People see Kevin TheRant on here, that's just me in the flesh. Me being on your podcast, just me on an everyday basis. I don't think anybody can handle me talking like that.
Yeah,
even my wife,
it's definitely him on a daily basis.
Yeah.
No, it's way worse. It's way worse on a daily basis. I think that conversation that we had was it being kind of covered a little bit. You kind of sugarcoated the way you would have said shit normally. But
oh yeah, I did.
Yeah,
but
to say,
my wife, she was like, I can't believe that you talk like that or act like that. I'm like, that's really me. So this is like a therapy session, because people get to see who I actually am. You know, no mask on, no nothing. It's just me in a nutshell. How about you, Dre?
I literally cannot add anything else to what you guys were saying. I'm sitting there listening.
Yeah, I know.
I'm listening.
Yeah,
I mean, we're brothers. Like we're cousins, obviously, but we're brothers. We've been through thick and thin. You know what I mean? We've dealt with a lot of shit together. I think that it has been therapeutic, because I mean, we open up to each other even when it's not on air anymore. You know what I mean? It's like the group chat, we're telling each other all the shit that's going on. It's not just about business, even though it is about business. We touch base on a lot of different things, and everybody here wants to see everybody here just succeed in the best way possible. And if we're able to do it together, then that's really the goal for us three, to be able to have financial freedom and be able to do things together. like we did when we didn't have financial freedom, like we do now when we're struggling on a day-to-day basis with family and different things. Once we get free, we want to be able to experience that together. And the plan is for us to be able to experience together and give them the experience from our eyes as well. So hopefully people tune in and come and check us out and, come have a good time with us, rock out with us.
And speaking of doing it together, one of you is down south in Florida, two of you are in New Jersey, and my husband does a podcast with his buddy, and we're in the same time zone as him, but it can be like really hard to kind of schedule around more than one person's, life. How do you guys like work out the logistics? Do you have a set time and day that you are like dedicated to the podcast?
Yeah,
Definitely.
On Sunday, every Sunday, I tell my wife knows, Sunday around 3:00, I am unavailable. You have no connection to me. You don't know me. I don't exist. I'm in my bubble.
You don't know me?
You don't. You do not know me. I'm in my bubble. If you tune in or you listen to the show the next day, do not catch feelings. That's just me talking podcast stuff. Talking podcast, giving my honest opinion on things. If somebody asks me about a relationship, like I said, we did a show on cheating. Yeah, I broke it down. Yeah, some men cheat just because we feel like cheating. It has no rhyme or reason to it. And she was like, I can't believe you men think like that. I'm like, well, you shouldn't listen if you didn't want to hear it. But I'm giving you an honest opinion from a man's point of view. Most men get on a podcast and want to lie to people and everything. Our podcast is just if we giving you the insight of a man, we want to give you the true insight of a man and not some fluffed up, caked up stuff that they put on social media for women to be like, oh my gosh, I got to share it to my friends. Because these guys feel like there's like, you might get some of that, but you also want to get some raw stuff that you didn't want to hear. But it's like, this is honestly how men think.
Why do I feel like that initial episode, Sex Island, was all your idea?
Oh, it was.
It was, though.
It was my idea. It was 100% my idea. It was, but that show, like, that was in our early stages of doing the podcast.
That was real early.
That when we dropped that episode, it just went crazy. It just went. Oh, it was just like, but it was like I couldn't unsee it. I'm like, I'm literally scrolling through social media, and somebody said there's an island. He paid, I think it was $3,000. And you can have a different woman every day. And I'm saying to myself, like, man, to do whatever I want.
I think it was more than $3,000, but
it was some good money.
No, it was like six. It was $6,000.
Pretty low.
No, it was $6,000. It was $6,000. I did research. It was $6,000. I said, yeah. I took my income tax money and went there.
All right.
And I probably got banned from the island with stuff I already been doing. They were like, you cannot do that.
Revoke your membership.
You said I could do anything. You said there's cocaine on this island. I don't do cocaine.
Jesus Christ.
But I want to see them do some coke. I want to see somebody do cocaine in front of me.
What the
Hey, yo, you are a menace.
wild,
I'm just saying, I don't do cocaine. I always seen it on the movies. I want to see it live. Do cocaine.
Go Rick James on me, bitch.
But since we're on the topic of your topics, you guys pretty much cover everything under the sun and then some. Do you keep tabs on the news for things to talk about?
Only when pertaining. Yeah. Go ahead, Kev.
I'm about to say it.
You don't like
if it's something, so it depends on how it affects us. We really talk about things that kind of affect us. Like if it's something that we feel as though it's just social shit, or we really don't get into it as much. But if it affects us or affects the culture, or you know what I mean, it's something like, yo, did you hear that? That's crazy. You know what I mean? And you it's something that you gotta try to wrap your head around. We'll discuss it, but I don't find us really looking up social topics or trying to be in the news, or like we're media.
Yeah,
I don't consider us to be media.
I like to be a podcast. Like when I think of a podcast, podcasts don't date themselves. Early podcasts before. Like I was listening to podcasts since I say about 2016, before the whole boom happened, before the pandemic. And it was just conversations. It was literally just conversation between people having legit conversation. There was no social topics or anything like that. Where I think the podcast game is going now is that radio can't keep up with podcasts anymore. So they take these in and out topics and try to put them on podcasts. And what that does is like, you can't have forever content. it gets dated. It's like, who will go back to listen to an episode about something that happened in 2019? Like, we're past that already, where
True.
if you have an episode where you're talking about Sex Island, there's something funny like that, you can go back and re-listen to it. Or if you're just sitting, you know, or Why Do Men Cheat, which we did. If you want to, you know, if you're a lady and you're like, you know what, even though this episode was like got made 5 or 6 years ago, it still kind of holds its water now. It gives me an insight. Because that's what we try to do. We just want to pull the curtain back. We, you know, I mean, we do a lot of men topics. We want to pull the curtain back. It is for women to look like, oh my gosh, this is what y'all really think of us, or what y'all really think of yourselves or the world view. Like, I know men seem like a simple creature, but we are kind of complex too. Like,
I'm simple.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You used to break up with girls because they didn't tie their shoelaces the right way.
That sounds like my brother. He's
See,
very like particular about the girl's shoes. He said, he's working at Panda Express, and he's like, she was cute, but she had them big old fast food black shoes. And I was like, I cannot. I think that is his girlfriend though today.
Non-slip.
They said non-slip.
Which, speaking of my brother, I love him dearly. But he's almost 30, and he kind of falls into a topic you guys have done on the show that I think a lot more people should talk about, and that is like kids leaving the nest. Do you think that we're coddling children today? Because I have friends who are my age, mid-30s and upper 30s, who are still living at home but are gainfully employed. They could move out, but I think people are scared of the struggle. What do you think?
Not this guy. He doesn't coddle kids at all.
I don't. I'll kick you out to the I'll kick you out the dead of
There's
winter.
an age
Not
limit
this
to his
guy.
house.
It is.
Me too, I would.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think these kids nowadays don't have to, you know, to want to get out and be independent. Like, growing up, yeah, get up and go do something with your life. Like, who wants to sneak girls through the basement, or I'm having company over, or hey, that's my mom in the living room, my dad. You should want to get out. And like, I just can't stand people that just want to stay there forever. Like, dog, don't you get tired of, you know, hey mom, can I have the living room right now? Or go ahead, Dre.
My house, my rules. And I've dealt that way. I've dealt with that since my early 20s. Once you get a taste of having your own, that's it. I can't go back to my mother's house and she's telling me to do the dishes. I don't feel like it. You know what I mean? And nowadays with kids, I think it's a mixture of not preparing them for the world, which, like, you know, you see Kev's kids, they you know, clearly they're prepared because he's not going to let them stay past a certain point. But it could be both. But I do think there are independent kids who they're going to do their own thing anyway. As long as they're told how to pay their bills and do certain things like they should, then they should be fine. But
I got one more thing to add. These kids, they feel like they're entitled. Like there you go. They feel like they're entitled, and they think because they can stay in this house till they're 30, not realizing they're their parents' house, but want to make rules up along in their parents' house. Like, I'm not doing X, Y, and Z. Like, you gotta get the fuck out then. Sorry, you gotta get the F out then. You know,
We've already been cussing, Kev.
Oh, we have. Yeah, I did say about it.
I feel like it should have been the opposite. You know what I mean? I feel like the people who got the better advantage when we were younger got the support of their parents. They got to stay home and live with their parents till they were 25, 30 and actually save up their money and go to school and do this and do that. And then next thing you know, they got the upper hand because they didn't have to pay these bills. Their parents helped them along the way so they can be a responsible adult. And we lived a lifestyle where we wanted to get out as fast as possible just because we just didn't want to do shit that probably could have helped us ethically. It probably could have helped our mindset, our money, our, you know what I mean, our knowledge in general, you know what I mean? And felt like us, like I'm gonna use us as an example, we just wanted to be grown as fast as possible. And if I have the opportunity to let my daughter stay home and live with me or her mother until she's capable of being a responsible adult and learning what she needs to learn and not being able to fail when she goes out into the real world, then I'm gonna give her that opportunity. Because the one thing that my parents and grandparents wanted to do was give me everything that they didn't have. It's the same thing I would want for my kids. So if I want her to succeed and she wants to go to school and stay home and and get her shit together until she's ready to leave, then I'm cool with that. But on the other side of the pillow, you know, there comes responsibility and rules with that situation, and you're gonna be raised that way. You know what I mean? So you got to be able to wash one hand, and let the other both wash the face and deal with what you got to deal with. But if I could give her the opportunity to be able to get a head start, I'm gonna give that to her.
He's like, no, get out of my house.
Yeah, that's because Kev got a tribe.
I ain't got
he's
a
got
tribe,
to start kicking. He got to start kicking these little motherfuckers out as fast as possible, so he could, because they coming in just as fast as they go.
Bro, whatever, though.
They are.
My daughter, I got right now, I got a daughter who's in college. Like she's struggling right now.
And what's your youngest?
My youngest is 2.
Exactly.
Oh.
So one left as one was trying to leave as one was coming in.
Like I said, I just want you at some point, being 30 years old, you want to have the ability to walk down the hallway naked to the kitchen to get some juice. You cannot do that living with your parents.
I'd hope my daughter would be well enough after she gets done school and doing what she wants to do as she becomes an adult to want to have that herself, want to have her own place. You know what I mean? But if she's not ready, then I'm not going to just push her out into the world, and then next thing you know, she's coming back.
Hey, listen,
you know what I mean? Like, I want you to go
back.
when you're ready. You know what I mean? See, but then when you push a bird off the off a tree or off a tree limb, and it falls and it doesn't fly. Now what you got? You got a dead bird.
Hey,
What do
listen.
you do in your spare time?
Exactly. I want to have sex. I want to have sex with your mother in the
Pushing
kitchen.
birds.
I want to have sex with your mother in the
We
kitchen.
moving
You
birds
have
out
to
here.
get out of here unless you want to see that. You can stay and see that, or you can leave.
And what other opinions are we gonna hear from y'all as we head into the fall? Do you guys have like a lineup, or you kind of just go with the flow each week?
I think we do a little bit of both. I mean, we kind
Yeah.
of plan ahead of time, and then we also trying to do some spur of the moment things because we all have different ideas that pop up, and for the most part, when somebody brings an idea to the table, it's always like a hitter. Like, oh yeah, that's good. We need to bring that in. And then every now and then somebody will say something like, yo, we're doing that today. You know what I mean? And it just we like to go off of the vibe and make everything as organic as possible, because we don't want to seem like everything is rehearsed. You know what I mean? We might go over some topics and kind of have an idea of what we're going to talk about, but when it comes down to us having conversation, most of the time it's off the top.
Yeah.
We speak exactly how we feel about the situation at that moment in time.
I mean, if we got that. We also got an interview that'll be dropping hopefully another 2 weeks with David K. We're gonna be recording that soon. Very important voice actor. You look him up. You know, he was the voice of Ben 10 for the younger generation. And if you're an old man like me, he was the voice of Megatron and General Hawk from G.I. Joe. So, you know, we got interviews that we're doing like that. Like Kev said, you know, most of our topics is like
what does it mean to be an alpha male?
Yeah, alpha male. Yeah. It's like it's almost locker room talk, but it's like I said again, it's very, very authentic. I don't want to, like he said, I don't want to come off like, oh, I'm just, you know, you can clip me up and someone be like, oh yeah, let me share this clip. This guy had something interesting to say. It was like, yo, he doesn't really feel like that way. You know, all women should be put, like, you get guys, all women should be put on a pedestal and they're good women and you should do that. And come to find out he's a cheating bastard, you know?
It's
Adam
cloud
Levine,
chasing.
What was that? And the other guy that
the
what's his
try
name?
guy.
Dexter or whatever that.
I don't know.
That was
dude who
from,
got
that
caught
was from a
cheating on
couple
his
years
wife?
ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah,
shaming other people.
Yeah, shaming other men.
Adam Levine was wilding though.
Yeah, Adam Levine.
He was wilding. Yo, can I name my daughter after the girl I cheated with?
And it wasn't even a good name.
It wasn't.
Sumner.
Something crazy like that.
Ugh.
Yo, he was wilding.
Hey man, listen.
Whoa.
And can you tell people where they can find y'all online?
You can find us on all major streaming platforms: Spotify, iTunes,
Apple.
Apple, Google by anywhere you can stream
YouTube,
wherever
videos,
YouTube, the Opinionated Podcast, on
Facebook,
the Opinionated,
Twitter,
Instagram,
Instagram.
the Opinionated Podcast. You got to say that. We are the Opinionated Podcast on Facebook. We are.
And if they want to email us, where can they email us
at Opinionated Podcast, ddk@gmail.com.
Well, you three, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me about your celebrity crushes, Sex Island, and so much more. I learned so much today. And everyone, you can find all of the Opinionated Podcast information below. And until next time, keep crushing it.